Hey, everybody, welcome to another edition of Small Business Chronicles. This show has become your Swiss Army knife for all things business, whether it be advice, how to network, how to wrap up a business to sell, how to start a business. We focus on solopreneurs, entrepreneurs, small companies to just kind of gather that information up so everybody can have it in one central location. And today's guest is professional surfer turned entrepreneur. I love people that don't have that linear path into business because I don't have one as well. So let's welcome to the show, Jeremy Ryan. How are we doing today, sir?
Doing well. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, absolutely. I'm really excited to talk to you because in the pre-interview we're talking and we have a lot in common. There's some commonalities in industry and stuff like that. So I have a feeling it's going to be a really, really good conversation. So you're in California, correct? You're out on the West Coast.
Yeah, I'm actually in Los Angeles at the moment.
No,
Yeah.
that's fair.
Yeah.
Uh, and you started this journey as a surfer, correct?
Yeah, I surfed professionally my whole life, and basically I've surfed. It was pretty much twice a day, every day, from 12 years old to 30 to 35, literally every day, almost twice a day. That was just my routine. So I tons of water time.
Uh, so have you always grown up by the ocean? Are you an LA native, or have you bounced around a little bit? Because it seems like ocean's been a huge part of your life.
Yeah, so I was born in Venice, California, and lived here until, which I'm back now. So, but lived here until I was 10, and then when I was 10, the company that my dad was working for moved up north. It was like an hour north to this small town called Port Hueneme, and they gave him really great deal bonus if he moved up there, and so we ended up moving up to this tiny town. I remember thinking like, what the heck is Port Hueneme? Like I've never heard of this. I was so bummed. And we we go up there. It's just a small. It's a small farm town. Most people don't even. They just pass right by it if they're going up north towards like Santa Barbara, which is a really popular area up there, or Ventura. And and yeah, we moved to this small town, and for me it was such a blessing because when I was living in LA, I didn't surf. I didn't start surfing till I was 12, and but I rode skateboards and did all that. But the waves up in that area are just are world class and are amazing. And that was the honestly, if I hadn't have moved up there, I never would have became professional ever. So it was definitely a blessing in my life, and it definitely molded me to kind of just the surfer that I've become, and what I was able to do in the sport.
So what caused you to transition from professional surfer into marketing guy?
So the surf, for those of you that don't know, like the surf industry it's brutal. It's to make money in the surf world, it's really challenging. And it's such a small percentage, and I know that's for all sports, but like even the top guys and girls out there that are surfing at a high level, even the best are not making that much. It's really it's a career for like the love of the sport. So I grinded it out for years. I loved it. I traveled all over the world. I was able to surf, but at when I was 30, the company that was paying me to surf, my sponsor, went bankrupt. And so at that time, being 30 is considered over the hill at that time. You're starting to like most most people are kind of like dipping out and going to do other things, and I was still feeling really good. My level was really high. I was competing against 20-year-olds and still beating them, and everything's I was on the up and up, but I kind of had to be realistic in the sense that it's going to be very challenging to get a deal that's, worth anything, right? And I had to like kind of start planning for my future. And so what I came up with and what I really wanted to do is I wanted to be that digital nomad. Like I still wanted
Hmm.
to travel, and but if I just thought if I could travel, do the surf thing and still make money on the road, this is like the perfect life for me. So I ended up going to school for web design, graphic design, and marketing. And then I started my own agency. And so I was able to like transition and kind of build build that digital nomad lifestyle and still being able to travel. So I've luckily I've been able to successfully do it, and I've been doing this, up until now. So yeah, that
So,
was my
so,
transition.
so why did you pick graphics to get into? Because you'd said in the pre-interview that was kind of your first stepping point to do it. What was it about graphic design that you liked that drew you to it?
I've just I've just always been artistic. I've always, when I was in class, I would just draw on my surfboards. I'd always paint my own surfboards. I just love art, and I feel like I've always had a good eye for what I mean. Art's subjective, but for me, I always felt like I have a good idea of like even if I look at a flyer, I can kind of see like where things could be set up differently. Text sizes could be
Hmm.
different, and just the overall feel and the purpose of design, right? Like what's the purpose of the visual? And
Hmm.
so I found that interesting, and I've really found marketing interesting, and just because it's like a problem to solve to me. Like that's what a
I,
logo or whatever is kind of that problem. So I just really was always drawn to art.
I think that goes for marketing really well is that people want to be artists, creative people. They want to be artists. They want to create. They want to have this creative space. But it's so hard to make money doing that. Whether it's setting up a little flea shop, but a flea market shop, or painting surfboards, doing whatever, it's just really hard to make that. So if you can transition that skill into a marketing skill of creating logos, design, flyers, stuff like that, I found that to be an amazing entry point for people into marketing that are creative, that come in because it takes a certain type of person to balance that out, to be creative and business. So good for you. And you told me you had a little branch off there that with your design you started a clothing company as well.
Yeah, around the same time where I started my design company, I just kind of realized like I could sponsor myself here. Like I can make my own designs, my own t-shirts. And at the time I had a connection with a buddy that lived down in Peru, and he was in that world manufacturing and doing stuff down there. And so we had just been talking, and it just kind of seemed like it made sense to start there and make some products down there. And we did that for a little while, and then now we've transitioned into almost all of our production is done in LA, and we're keeping it in the US. And but yeah, it just for me any outlet where I can be creative just makes me happy. And I think that's why I was always drawn to surfing. Surfing is a creative sport. There's no one way you can surf. You can do your own thing. You have your own style, and you basically have like a canvas that you can kind of paint when you're on a wave. And so, yeah, I've always just been into like creation and solving problems. It's just something I've always been into. It's why I just love business in general, and why marketing really transitioning out of just doing design like you were just mentioning, and doing more of like having more of a vision and a reason to do the art, right? Or a reason to do the website, or a reason to do whatever, Facebook ads, whatever it is. There's like you create this to to draw attention and bring people to the product or to the whatever the business is, right? And that's the challenge, and that's what's so interesting about it, and fun.
How do you feel? So I feel like we're going through this different time in marketing. is that, you had your traditionals, which was radio and TV, and then you get your streaming sites, and that kind of takes away from the traditional. And then we get to this wild west of digital landscape. And now, like, advertising, like, not marketing, advertising are two different things, but marketing has gotten so bad of just following you around with the programmatics, with I call them attack ads. But you think about something and all of a sudden they're on your phone and stuff like that. So yeah, what I'm seeing is a lot of designers, graphic designers, creative people are now getting a better foothold because you've had to come up with a way around all of that noise, because the ads are no longer intriguing. They're no longer fun. They've went with brute force over creativity. And I think right now in marketing, we're at this time that creative aspect is coming back up, because as a human race, we're just starting to ignore the brute force advertising that's been so popular over the last 5 or 6 years.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, the best ads out there are the ones that don't look like an ad, right? Like
Right.
when a consumer sees an ad, once they know it's an ad, I mean, they're already turned off. Like, no one wants to
Oh
watch
yeah.
ads. You watch TV and a commercial
Yeah.
comes on. What do? You're not sitting there like,
They-
ooh, a commercial, right?
I,
So
I pay tons of money a month to avoid commercials, because I'll pay for YouTube Premium, I'll pay for Netflix Premium, I'll pay for Apple Music, I'll pay for whatever the hell doesn't show me a commercial. I will pay premium prices for that just to avoid it.
right, except for maybe the one time of the year during Super Bowl, right, where you see all the actual creative commercials
Yeah,
and it's more to, it's not just trying to sell a product, it's like creating something like that where you're kind of
yeah,
entertained, right? So
yeah.
I think that's where everything's going. And yeah, it's you know it's hard. That part's hard. Only the best marketers are going to be able to pull that off. And that's, I do think, especially with AI and there's all these ways that you can just quickly just create an ad and post it up. Like, it's so easy now, it's
hmm
effortless. So now it is like, it's so flooded that you have to be way more creative now with your ads and how you market your business.
Have you ever had an ad you made that you hated, but you had a deadline, you had to make an ad, you hated it, and you were sure it was going to fail, and it was one of the best things you ever done? Has that ever happened to you? I've talked to a lot of marketers that something you didn't expect to blow up ad wise blew up for you.
Not right off the bat, but the one thing that I have really been focusing on and over the past years is, I've always been such a perfectionist, and that just
hmm
doesn't work with marketing. Like, it's
No,
all about getting things out, testing it, letting the public be the judge, and then making those changes. And I was always so hard on myself and trying to make things so perfect, and no one cares. Like, and it kind of goes
no,
to what you're saying.
no,
Sometimes something that is so maybe cheesy or kind of like it's just not perfect. It's really rough.
no.
Sometimes that's the one that resonates. And so, yeah, I've really been focusing on just like letting that go. Doesn't have to be perfect. Just get it out. You can always take it down.
Well, I
You
think
can always,
we're of kind of the same age, and I think when you looked at commercials and they were professionally produced, or you've seen a local ad or a 3 a.m. ad or whatever, they were just bad. So you had all these big comparisons. But I think now that we went to social media advertising, if you look at what's popular on TikTok, there are jump cuts. The sound's not great. The camera angle's not great. It's not a high quality production, is what I'm kind of
right.
saying. But they're getting millions and millions of views. They're getting things. But when you go to like TikTok or Instagram, and once again you see an ad, you avoid it. We're done.
Yeah.
You're flipping and you're doing quick. But what I've found out in marketing and in video production or whatever, I've become a lot less perfectionistic. Of having of when I have people come sit in this chair and record stuff, I'll have them pause, and then I'll just take that pause out, and they'll be like and then we went to the store the other day, and so you'll have these weird little jump cuts, and those are perfectly normal now. And a lapel mic, like I got a lapel mic with a big old fuzzy ball on it and all this stuff.
Right.
You see them in all sorts of professional advertising now. Things where when we were coming up in advertising were completely off limits. Like that would just show you, okay, so this goes at 3:00 during a Laverne and Shirley episode rerun on TV
Right.
land. But now that stuff is in mainstream advertising today.
Yeah, I mean this day and age, because of the fact that it's so flooded with ads, it's like the more organic it looks, the better, right? So you want that fuzzy mic to be showing because it's showing that you have a fuzzy mic. If not, you're just talking and why is this so clear and like sounds so great with no mic, right? Like it's kind of showing that this is real. I'm talking to you. Yes, I have a mic because I want to make it sound good, but we're not going to hide it. We're not, I said mic, like hide the mic and do all this stuff. And it's like, no one cares about that. They just want some kind of value.
No.
They want to be entertained. And,
No.
and yeah, the more organic it looks, I mean, it's more, it resonates more. It's more personal, and people don't want to be sold. Like people just don't want to be sold stuff.
I tell my clients, my few remaining marketing clients as I transition into this new life, is that we use the 4-step approach. Tell, ask. Meaning that we do something fun, tell them about your employees, tell them about some charitable thing you did, show the family off, show the employees off, whatever. But then 1 out of 4 or 5 times you can ask. You can go, hey, come on in and buy this thing from me. And we found, and I've just found in my small company using that kind of thing, because you're exactly right. If every ad that you do is, hey, come buy from me, come buy from me, come buy from me, then people just tune you out.
Yeah. I mean, the ultimate goal with marketing is to just keep giving enough value to where they come to you and ask you for what your service, for your service. I mean, and it's easier said than done. It's very challenging in this landscape and how fast things are moving and how consistent you have to be with giving value, and so, yeah, I mean, that's the ultimate goal for sure.
And if anybody's watching this and struggles with that, I have a microphone and I have a camera. I'm an expert now. That's all it takes. So that's literally it. And you can grab a phone and like, hey, I'm a podcasting expert. I recommend this. If you're a roofer, grab your phone and go up on the roof and show somebody what a bad shingle looks like. These are the things that add value, becoming an expert, informing people, telling people. I got a client, he runs a brewery, right? And a lot of times we just go take pictures of the brewery and tell them what's coming up this week, or we do all sorts of stuff, but we never really advertise the product. We just kind of show them the place, and we give value to, hey, this place is nice, this place is homey, this place is rustic, and that's what I attracted to, or that's what people attract to. And same thing with florists or coffee baristas. You just have to show them what you're about and give them that value, like you said.
Yeah, no, I mean, and that was a great example you just gave of a brewery, right? Like, imagine every day or a few times a week you get some pop-up video, not really an ad, but it's a pop-up, it's a video in your feed somehow. Could be an ad, but it's showing it's just somebody holding a phone, filming something in the brewery, talking about this new beer that just was made, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And after a couple of weeks of that, all of a sudden you're sitting at home, you're like, I want to go get a beer. What pops into your head? Right? That brewery.
Yeah.
And that and that is there's no better way to market than that. But it does take time and it takes effort, right? Like you have to be on it, you have to keep giving that value, showing what the business is about. And all of a sudden you're the go-to brewery to have a drink, right? And so it's a great, perfect example of that.
Yeah. But not all businesses you can do this with, because let's take a little side trip here. Is like mold mitigation, plumbers, stuff like that. You still need good SEO, and you still need to be stacked in that ranking, because when my toilet blows up or falls off the hinges, or my sink explodes, or I find mold, I just usually Google who can fix this. Not everybody has a guy for those things. So there are some industries out there that do not benefit from the slow play, give, ask, but you still can because once again, what you're talking about is being front of mind. And so say that you're a plumber, you do invest some money into SEO, you do invest whatever, but you're still taking to social media to show people how to fix small clogs or how to fix this leaky thing or how to fix that. You're still going to have that better opportunity because if you got 5 choices on your SEO feed there and you got 5 choices from Google, the guy that is front in mind that told you how to fix the thing and didn't cost you any money is going to be the one you call when you do fix that money. So
Yeah.
they do. There is a combination there to use this for other industries, but sometimes not as exclusive as hospitality industries can use it.
Yeah, I still do think it works. It just, what I think for me, from what I've kind of found, it just takes longer, right? Like,
Yes.
so
Yeah.
it's not going to be, oh, I want to get my pipes cleaned, and oh yeah, I've been seeing this guy talk about pipe pipe drain cleaning, right? Like,
Yeah.
it's a little different, but I think the main thing is it's like ticking all the boxes. Like, I always tell my
Hmm.
clients, when it comes to marketing, don't just focus on 2 things. Like, you kind of need to hit everything. You focus on the bread and butter that's going to push the needle the quickest, but everything needs to be slowly filtering in so you have more of an omnipresence, right? So you never know what
Hmm.
that, if somebody sees those videos, works at a company has an issue with some plumbing, that person, the employee says, "Oh, hey, I know somebody," they
Yeah. Yeah.
mention that, this gets passed on all of a sudden, so I think it's just kind of like being everywhere at all the time and giving some kind of value to people. Eventually, it can work, but again, like what we said, it's a lot of work, and it's consistency. It's all about consistency.
Well, yeah, and absolutely. The 2 things about marketing, you have to be consistent with it, and the
Yeah,
number 2 is your marketing is going to be a commitment of time and or money.
yeah.
I'm getting ready to do a lunch and learn for the local chamber about how to market with the things on your desk, right? Because we're going to talk about the commitment of time it takes to market these things, but maybe not
Hmm.
so much money. To where if you have a particular part of marketing you don't understand, then allocate your funds and make sure to check your ROIs and your costs of what you're doing there. But yeah, I would love to see marketing grow to this hybrid thing where people actually pay attention to it some more, other than just making people on Fiverr to make them bad ads and do that brute force thing. And I'm seeing that come full circle, I believe, in marketing. So.
Yeah, for sure.
So let's move on. Like we went down in the dirt there for a minute in marketing. So your other thing that you do is now, even though you feel like you're past your sponsorship or whatever, you started coaching surfing recently.
Yeah, so when COVID hit, I'll just give a brief story. So when COVID hit, everything shut down. Even the beaches shut down
Hmm.
for a while, which was really
Yeah,
strange. But
weird.
that's
Yeah.
a whole another deal. But yeah, everything shut down. None of the the kids weren't able to go to camp for summer camp. Parents were at home with the kids, didn't know what to do, and so I started getting requests from some moms and dads about, like, hey, can you teach my kid how to surf? And I was like, honestly, at that time, I was really like, I don't really want to teach beginners. Like, I had done
Right.
coaching in the past for high performance surfers and stuff like that, and that's where my passion is, like the high level stuff. And I always felt like I was above teaching a beginner. I just always felt that. And I finally was like, you know what, I'll just do it. And I'll never forget, like, the first lesson I did was this little girl. I think she was like 6 or something. And I had the board and I got her to stand up on a whitewash, tiny little whitewash, and she rode it. And I remember, like, she was so happy, like the joy that she had to ride that wave. It just, like, it like changed everything, and it really gave me this love for teaching, because I was like, wow, I ride a wave, I don't feel that anymore. Like, I'm so jaded by it. I've done it. Even if
Hmm.
I do a huge air or do some like trick that's really hard, I'm like, oh, that was cool. And then I go back out to get another one. Like I don't feel that excitement. So when I see that in a beginner of just riding a wave, like it can like totally change someone's life. Like it can make people so happy, even if it's just for a few minutes. It's crazy. And so then I just fell in love with it. And I just started teaching any level. And, and yeah, I love it. I do about on average, like one lesson a day. And yeah, I've been busy, and it's been the most rewarding job that I've had yet. So it's pretty awesome.
What you're explaining is called the middle-aged dad phase. Is that we're over all the stuff we've done because we've done all that stupid stuff and we've had that dopamine and it takes a lot to impress us, right?
Yeah.
And there came a shift in my time too that I was like, teach people marketing or to do Udemy classes or to help people coach and podcast or to do that gives me that same feeling I used to have, but more as a voyeuristic. Hey, look, I see somebody and I recognize that feeling going through it. So it does
Right.
that. And yeah, I've always called that my middle-aged dad teaching phase, is that it's just to a point that I feel I've done enough. But to see like kids and students and stuff get that excitement for the thing that you had excitement for, ticks a box in my brain somewhere. So I get it.
Yeah, I love it. And you know, the funny thing is it's really helped my own surfing because I remember the first lesson I did, or not the first, but like some of them when I do for beginners, you know, I'm trying to teach them how to pop up on a surfboard. And I remember the
Mm-hmm.
first time someone asked me, I think it was like the third lesson or something, someone's like, how do I pop up? And I was thinking about it and I was like, I don't even know how I pop up. Like I just do it. So it really had me kind of go back and like really look at my
Right. Yeah.
fundamentals. And and yeah, it's really like my surfing is I'm as surfing is good now as I've ever surfed. And it's really I really think doing all the teaching, even at lower levels, it's rebuilding my foundation and to not get sloppy and like really keep everything like my paddling, my pop ups, like everything I'm doing, keep it really tight. And and yeah, and the other thing too is I'm at the beach every day, so you know I do have a 1 year old boy, and so now I have more responsibilities. But when I go do a lesson, I usually go a little earlier or I stay a little later, and I'll surf for a little while. So I'm staying in
Mm-hmm.
tune. I'm getting the surfing in, which is like my meditation, and
Mm-hmm.
and for my health aspect and mental health. And then I do that, and then I make money, and then I come home and I go back to the marketing and the family thing. So it's really a great for me. It's a great combination of things that I have going at the moment.
Well, I thank you so much for stopping by today because we're at the end of our time. From everything from professional surfer to clothing brands to marketing to coaching. It sounds like you figured this life thing out. Not that it's going to come with challenges, not that it's gonna not going to be hard at times, but it sounds like you've kind of figured out the point, which is to get to where you want. And I want all of our other entrepreneurs and business people to know this is where we want to get. It's not I'm in a good spot, you're in a good spot. That all that hard work that sometimes you got to pivot and it's hard to get to where you want to do. Sometimes it's multiple things. Sometimes it's like you that has three, or me that has two, or whatever. To know that success comes in many forms, and it looks like you found it, my friend.
Awesome. Yeah. I feel blessed every day. I get to do, you know, I don't feel like I work. Like I love
Right.
all three of the businesses that I do. I love it and I enjoy it. So like Monday comes around, I'm ready to go. You know, I work on weekends because I love it when I have free time, and I just enjoy what I do, and I'm hoping I can keep that going, you know, the rest of my life and be happy with whatever I'm doing. You know, whatever that is, I just want to make sure I'm doing it because I love it, and it makes truly makes me happy.
Well, how do our listeners get a hold of you and reach out to see your various projects, products, and get in touch with you if they have any questions?
Yeah, so my main website is jeremyryanlife.com. That kind of just has like everything. It's
Mm-hmm.
of what I have going on. But for the marketing agency, it's subtideagency.com, and the clothing line is ruettclothing.com, RUETT, Ruett Clothing, and the surf school is SPF surfschool.com. So if anyone's in California and wants to get a surf lesson, feel free to hit me up. And yeah, and if anyone's in the need for some marketing for this year to kind of get things going, 2024, we're definitely available to help. So yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in again for another episode of Small Business Chronicles. I'm your host, Ryan Sherrer, and this podcast is brought to you by Titan Media Works. If you want a podcast of your own, that's what we do. So you can find us on titanmediaworks.com. And if you want to check out some of our other shows, we have everything from Hollywood voice actors, businessmen, coaches, you name it, you can find it at smallbusinessdelivered.com. That is smallbusinessdelivered.com. And we put it on all the socials. So just search either one of those two entities and you will come across something we've done. Until next time, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in.